Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about the very first train set that I purchased with my own money. It is a Hornby Flying Scotsman. Yep, it's quite a big box. This was bought on the 7th of November 2010 in a model train shop in Melbourne, Australia. I don't think the shop exists anymore in the current location, but it was on one of those streets just near the main Flinders Street station in Melbourne. So buying a train set was really exciting for me, a bucket list item. And yeah, in 2010 I was 21 years old, still in university, but I had saved up some money from part-time working. So I bought this for, I think it was about 140 Australian dollars at the time, and brought it back to Sri Lanka. 2 flights, carried in the overhead locker like that. And well, since then it's been one of my favorite train sets. Sadly, I can't show you a proper unboxing because many of the components in this have now been split up, so to speak. The tracks are used on my permanent layout, which you have seen in previous videos. The locomotive and the coaches are in my display cabinets that are above the layout, and they get run occasionally. I've added 3 more coaches to the already 3 coach set, but when the set came itself, it had quite a few things. So we have a Hornby track mat, we have the locomotive and tender, we have 3 coaches, full oval of track. I don't know if you can see that, but it also comes with 2 points, 2 buffer stops, a power track, controller and a transformer. Now this particular controller is the Hornby R1072, which is considered to be one of the last good controllers for sets that they made. The following one, I think that was the 8250, and now they have a new one with a red knob and a black dial. A black body and red knob similar to this, but not that great according to reviewers. I don't know about that one, but I do have the 8250 and it is not that great. So yeah, I'm using Gauge Master controllers now, but this set came with what was probably the best starter set controller that Hornby made before they went to producing less than ideal ones. However, the locomotive itself, which I will show you in the next segment of this video, is surprisingly well equipped and well detailed for what is a train set locomotive. Usually Hornby and other manufacturers don't give their best iteration of a locomotive in a train set, obviously to keep costs manageable, but here we have got something pretty decent. So stay tuned for the description, or rather the closer look at the locomotive, and then we'll have some running sessions of the set. Right, let's have a look at the Flying Scotsman locomotive from the set, because I believe that in most sets it's the locomotive that's the most important part of it. Hashtag change my mind if you like. So here we are. Now this locomotive is very well built, I've got to say. It's got a metal chassis. The base keeper plate is plastic though. Pickups on all 6 driving wheels. Got a very nice front pony truck there. You can see it's having a little bit of paint rash, so to speak, but still seems okay. And the trailing bogie is a bit stiff. I wonder why that is, but as you can see, it has no flanges. That is so that when the locomotive goes over curves, it doesn't actually get caught in them. So I guess when you're trying to model realism but have to work with the constraints of a model railway, you have to make some compromises. So I don't mind that. I don't really notice those flangeless wheels that much. You can see the nameplate Flying Scotsman looks very nice. The green paintwork with white stripes and yellow accents. We've got red buffer beams with sprung buffers. Once again, a very nice feature to have. The whistles are separately fitted metal parts, but the chimney doesn't have a copper edging or anything of the sort. The dome is also equally featureless. So yeah, for a train set locomotive, they've done some work with it, but it's not a super detailed model either. Valve gear looks fantastic though, no complaints there. And you can see from the wheels that this model has been run. I've had it for 14 years, so obviously it's been run quite a bit, and a very beautiful run, as you'll see in the videos that follow this. So one thing I'd like to talk about is this front pony truck. I've found that the locomotive wheels stay clean, unlike some of my other locomotives, and the reason for that is the front pony truck is the one, sorry for bumping the camera, front pony truck wheels are the ones that actually clean the track, so to speak. You can see the wheel isn't the cleanest, so that's a really nice feature because it's really easy to clean these wheels. I just use a Pico track rubber, but you can also use a cotton bud soaked in isopropyl alcohol, which is what I do for a quick clean, and it's far less easy to clean the main wheels because of course they don't turn freely naturally. So a feature, I don't know if Hornby intended this or not, but I like the fact that my front pony truck on the Flying Scotsman does all the track cleaning for me. Even though I clean my tracks on a weekly basis, there's always some gunk and goop, especially when you run locos with traction tires like I do. So yeah, very nice feature on the locomotive. I have added some crew to this locomotive. You can see a driver and a fireman added there. I bought the crew from eBay and added them in for this one and my Tornado Pullman. Now another thing to note is the tender coupling. You can see it's got electrical pickups there. So you've got a top pickup for one side and a bottom pickup for the other side. Now the reason for that I suspect is that on some models you have the tender doing some picking up as well, or possibly the DCC socket for DCC locomotives is located there. I don't know, I assume these things because I haven't really checked up on them, but it would make sense to have the DCC decoder in the tender because there isn't a lot of room inside this locomotive. I mean, it's got a 5-pole motor, no flywheel, but the 5-pole motor is smooth enough. So as you'll see in the running video, it's a very nice runner. So we've got the two connectors there. Now let me show you the tender. I'm going to put the locomotive out of sight so that the camera can focus properly. Standard LNER tender. It's a corridor tender, which is very interesting because these tenders were intended in use to allow a second crew who could man the locomotive at the halfway point on its long journey from London to Edinburgh to come and take over control. So what would happen is the second crew would be in the leading coach, in the first class of course, and they would enter via the tender, the corridor tender, go through that passage. You can just about see it modeled there, and they would exit from this door here. Now research shows that the passage is very constricted. Nevertheless, it's a really neat thing to have a corridor tender, and that would have of course been the window to illuminate the corridor, but on this particular tender it's just picked out, but there is no separately fitted window. However, we have once again sprung buffers, so that's a very nice feature. And the tender also, I don't know if you can see it, but this tender does have pickups. So yeah, I mean there is definitely a possibility to electrify this tender, and I've seen that older Flying Scotsmans did indeed have a ring-filled motor inside this tender, so maybe they've just adopted the old tender design for the newer Flying Scotsman design of what I've got here. But yeah, these 3 axles, these 6 wheels have power pickups. This one does not, and there is a metal plate there which does contact with 2 of the 4 contacts on that locomotive tender connecting bar, but there is nothing on this pin here which would connect with the other 2. So I'm guessing on models that are so equipped there would be an electrical connector or the metal piece or whatever there that would connect those as well. For me, I mean, it doesn't make a big difference because this locomotive runs well enough that I don't think it needs the additional tender pickups anyway. So yeah, the coal load is simulated coal, as is the water container and all those things, water filler, sorry. Here we've got 1 or 2 separately picked out parts. You can just about see them there and there, but otherwise yeah, it's a medium level of detail, I would say. It's not a super detailed tender. It's not a totally basic and Spartan tender either. I mean, you can see that by the presence of these sprung buffers. So let's have both together. Connecting the set together is very easy. You just do that and well, it's connected. That's it. First try you can do it. It's a really simple way to connect it. You just lift the tender off, or you just align the pin and put the tender back on. That's it. I really like that because it gives that close connection thing while allowing both components to freely pivot around each other, and it doesn't make things complex for the user. So here I'm just going to keep this on the side so that you can see what the locomotive and tender looks like. It's a very nice combo. There we are, the other side, and there you are. That's what the Flying Scotsman locomotive looks like. Now let's go and have some running sessions, shall we? So let's have a look at the Flying Scotsman starting off. I'm just going to turn the control up to around 25. We get motion. I'm going to keep it at 30 now, and you can see we've got a very smooth start, pulling a rake of 6 LNER unvarnished teak coaches, which is what the original prototype of the train would have pulled in its heyday, moving very nicely at just 30% on the controller. Now I should mention that the Loco does not have a flywheel on its motor, so that is very impressive performance, I've got to say. Let's see it move out of view like that. Here it comes, still at 30% speed, no stuttering, no hesitating, very smooth pulling very nicely. Of course my tracks are fairly clean too, so that helps with electrical connectivity, but this Loco has just 3 pickups per side only, so very good performance. Now I'm going to stop the Loco in view of the camera and start it off again. So you can see it just coming there. I'm turning the controller below 25 and it stops. So let's bring it up again. 25 is when we get motion. You can see once again a very nice slow start. Controller is actually at 28 by the way, not even 30. This is a Gauge Master Combi and very nice performance. You can see the coaches, the couplings are all taut, which means that the Loco is giving a consistent pulling force. If it were hesitating, you'd see the coaches suddenly bunching up and the tension in the couplings becoming slack. So let's just watch the last coach move out of view. Now let's see a drive-by at 50% speed, which is as fast as I usually run it. There we are. Once again a very beautiful sight, 50% speed. Now let's reverse the Flying Scotsman Loco with its full rake of 6 coaches. Now on reverse I have to give it about 35 to get things started, but then I can quickly back the controller down after that. I suppose on a real train where you give it more throttle initially and then back it down as soon as the train starts moving. Remember, the Loco is pushing now, not pulling. Now I'm just bringing the speed down again to show you how smoothly it can operate. Let's bring it to a stop there. Let's maybe try pushing again, bringing it up. There we go, 30%, starts very nicely. Let's stop it and let's see a takeoff in the forwards direction again, this time being a little more adventurous with the controller. Maybe let's go straight up to 40. Very good acceleration. I didn't detect any wheel slip either, which means it's got good traction. It is a moderately heavy locomotive. Let's just stop it there and let's bring it back again. There we go. Start it off quite fast. Okay, you can see the Loco performing very nicely. Now I'm going to be a bit ham-fisted, so to say. Let's give it a quick start and see if we have any wheel slip. Nope, that was quite impressive. I turned the controller all the way up to 40. Of course I don't feel like turning it up to 100 and then suddenly sending power to the track. That's not what I want to do for a Loco like this. So even a quick start, well, it can do it very, very nicely. So that's the end of the running tests of this Flying Scotsman, which admittedly has run quite a bit on my layout in the 14 years since I purchased it. So there we are, a very, I think, comprehensive look at how a train set would progress through a model railroader's journey. Initially when I got this set, it was set up in my childhood room at my parents' house, running around my bed on a carpeted floor, which is not ideal, but well, I managed for some years. Then when I got married and moved into my own house, it was periodically taken out and laid up in a vacant room and played with. Then I managed to convince my wife to give me the storeroom, where I now have my permanent layout, and this set, or rather its components, are very much an integral part of that. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, and it certainly has made me reminisce a lot of memories when I took this box into my hands after getting it out from storage. And well, that's how it's done. Why am I keeping the box? Well, because I like to keep my model train packaging. It's all carefully kept because there is something about it that gives you a feel of nostalgia as well, and I'm sure many model railroaders will relate to that too. Plus there are a few things inside this box. Let's just have an impromptu opening of the box right here on video. What do you think? So yeah, this is the track mat, the original track mat, and the instruction manual and service manual for the locomotive, all kept carefully. And this is the Rigiform packaging it came with. You can see the empty slots where the locomotive, the tender and the 3 coaches originally sat. You had some track and the power track there. Let's open things up a bit more. Yes, the curved tracks were there. Few more things there. This is the sleeve for the DCC decoder if you choose to add one. Bit of paper here where, you know, things were wrapped up in the paper when they came. The paper has since yellowed. Got a buffer stop here. I should keep that with my accessories. And we've also got the original locomotive accessories pack right here, which I have not installed because my hands can be a little clumsy sometimes, so I don't want to install them and then have them broken while they're on the locomotive due to handling. So there you are. That is why I keep my model train boxes, and that is why I think you as a model railroader should do the same as well, if you have the space, of course. If you don't, well, then you've got a hard decision to make. So I hope you enjoyed this video, which is a bit of a nostalgic look back at things integral as to how I got into my model railroading journey. And if you'd like to see more model railroad videos, do check out the playlist and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.